first thing we want to talk about is the APC zoning formula for the 10th National Assembly. So Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State yesterday faulted that particular zoning arrangement of the 10th National Assembly proposed by his party, and he rejected the zoning formula, saying that it was an unworkable arrangement that reinforces injustice and enhances inequity. Do you align with his assertion?
Well, life is about choices, and he is a politician, apart from being a senior lawyer. So I wouldn't know where he's coming from, but as far as I'm concerned, the National Assembly is consisting of several parties, and that should reflect in the way the person will be selected. You wouldn't expect a party that has maybe one or two members to aspire to lead the National Assembly. No, if that should happen, there will be anarchy and crisis, because they will naturally be making efforts to frustrate the executive arm, which of course belongs to another party, which will be called the ruling party. So the party supremacy, which is not being brought to bear on zoning, is a party affair. If I say anything now, they may be listening to me, but my words will not count for anything. My concern now is, how do we allow merit to play in a situation like this? Because we've had a lot of challenges in the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Reps. So much so that people are now saying that we're not getting value for the huge sums of money that go into keeping the National Assembly running. So, but here we are. We just hope for the best at all times, thinking that those who are coming in will realize the errors of the past and make every effort to ensure that they do better.
All right.
That's my position.
All right. Well, since we are discussing the National Assembly leadership, it's been the view of some people that right from our democracy, in fact, 9th Assembly, 8th Assembly, 7th Assembly, and all that, the executive had never, or to a large extent, they've always had a hand as to who becomes the National Assembly leadership. However, despite that hand they have, the assembly members themselves have always, or in most cases, gone against the position of the party and the executive. Do you align with that? Do you agree with that position of these people?
We had the case, the assembly before the president, where Bukola Saraki became the president of the Senate against the demands of the party, against the obvious expectation, machination, and planning of the executive. He told the fast one on them, and he was elected as Senate president. And despite all the hulabaloo, he ran through his 4 years fully. The only difference that we felt there was that there was a kind of opposition against the executive. I mean, I wouldn't say mild opposition. There were times that he frontally opposed some of the things the executives were putting forward. They rejected bills, they refused to approve some of the things being thrown at them. Unlike the present Senate, that has become a rubber stamp Senate, and everybody knows. I'm not saying what you don't know. Whatever comes from the executive, they easily approve it, including the $800 million loan that they're taking from the World Bank to assuage the impending removal of oil subsidy. Nigerians have been shouting, they've been complaining. And just, was it not early this week or last week, we had another approval for 22 trillion naira plus through which and means for a government that has less than 20 days to go. So these are cases where people are not going to be happy when the National Assembly is pliable and compliant and they dance to the whims and caprices of the executive. So it is better if people are allowed to, among themselves, of course, they only allow ranking senators. By ranking, I mean those who have had prior presence at the Senate, to leave the Senate. So it would be nice if they are given the free hand to run. As much as I wouldn't want crisis between the National Assembly, it should be better if there's a distinct demarcation of line between the two of them, whereby one doesn't become like an assistant to the other. It has been the case in the present National Assembly.
All right, let's check out the content of the letter of the Ondo State Governor Arakuni. Yes.
Introduce yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, you didn't listen from the beginning of the program, but hey, it's good to have you.
Okay, now.
Yeah. So I'm talking about the letter of Rotimi Akeredolu, the governor of Ondo State. He said in that letter that the move to zone the National Assembly leadership position on the behest of interested personalities with perceived closeness to the president-elect manifestly lays the dangerous foundation of distrust and needless suspicion, even as it structures nothing but a combination of booby traps. And it closes this chapter or this paragraph by saying we must avoid all this, and then he goes on to say in that paragraph that aside the unpretentious ambiguity in the purported press statement issued by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, the content, intentions and motives of the zoning formula represent early signs of steps aimed at attempts to cabin the hard-earned presidency for leader Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu by a few individuals with eyes on Aso Rock power buttons. He is just saying here, and I'm sure that we all can interpret this properly, but he's sharing concerns. As you would know, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State did step down, during the presidential primaries of the party. Is this some sort of reward, giving back to the guy who stepped down? And also with what he said in this statement, that's distrust that might arise from the public as to the closeness between these individuals.
In politics anywhere in the world, distrust is a strong content of politicking. So there is nothing anybody can do that will obligate or totally cancel out dissent. What you call distrust, I call it dissent. Why? Because first and foremost, enlightened self-interest is what an average politician will pursue given any situation. And of course, when the chiefs are down, they surrender their interest to the party interest or party supremacy, and then create an alliance whereby head or tail they will still be relevant. The aim of every politician, especially office holders, is to remain relevant. And that's why they always don't want to be kicked out of office. That's why you see a former governor struggling to become a minister, struggling to become a senate president, and all of that. So everybody is just there fighting their own mates. As regards Akeredolu's letter, I saw it, but unfortunately, I didn't pay attention to it. If I had gone through it, perhaps I would have been able to be more frontal in analyzing its position.
Yeah, in that case, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but in that case, let me help you with a bit more with the content of his letter. Aside that part where he specifically complained about the zoning formula by the party, he also did mention
what he has failed to appreciate is the fact that appointments within parties, when they have won elections, they serve to reward those communities where they got good votes, where they won. So let's not move away from that. And that, I can tell you, is the reason why they zone the presidency of the Senate to South-South. You and I know the results from the Southeast for APC. So they have to compensate those who allegedly worked for them and make them to have earned the votes they got, which of course ended up acting to they are coming out victorious.
All right. Would you call this process zoning, by the way? Because if it was zoned to the southern part of the country, then the likes of Adams Oshomole would be in the race for the presidency of the Senate. But this was, the party, specifically the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress, did pick somebody to say this is who you should vote for? Is this zoning or hand picking?
Let me tell you, Adam Osomole is going to the Senate for the first time. So he's not a ranking senator. Even if he has the ambition, he will understand, and I think he does, that he cannot contest the Senate presidency. Not this time around.
And there's nobody in the south part of the country that can contest alongside if Adams Oshiomhole cannot contest.
Adams cannot contest.
Yes,
now,
there's no other name.
There may be others. I have not really paid attention to all these shenanigans. But my focus basically is how we will set agenda for the presidency. More importantly, whereby all the crises that we have faced and we are still facing in the last 8 years, we brought to the front burner, and then they will be frontally tackled.
But this is how
can be able to be meaningful.
Yeah.
However, since you have dragged me into this, let me tell you, in the wisdom of the party, don't forget that the voters have no way of impacting who they will pick. It's a party position. Let's get that very clear.
No, it's a National Assembly position, Are.
My brother,
and the party does not have a say.
I understand. Look, at all times, this will be the 10th National Assembly. Go and do a survey or a research or a review of how previous Senate presidents were picked. You will not find anywhere except the one Saraki, which I told you, earlier, where he came out on his own merit and then using treacherous means got the opposition to support him even against his own party, and then he won the presidency. So we cannot begin to say constitution or the laws or regulations. Some of these things are written there to guide, but they are not prima facie hard and fast. That is what I'm telling you.
Right. Yeah.
And also, those guys, politicians, they know how to manipulate things to favor them.
Yeah.
The area you get that reality, the best.
I was just going to mention, because Council Felix has a question for you. Talking about setting an agenda for the 10th National Assembly, I think it begins now with probing, these decisions or possible decisions that could be made when, the members, the senators elect, decide to pick who leads them for the next 4 years.
Well, my paper is not ready, or my agenda is not completely ready. But definitely, you know me anyway. Stuff like insecurity are sufficiently mentioned there. Of course, power crisis, which, as I'm talking to you now, my phone is being powered by power bank, and the fan blowing me is a rechargeable fan. So I'm also a victim of the power crisis. And of course, we are still facing energy crisis. We still buy fuel at varied prices from station to station. These are things that must be looked into in the beginning. Things have become so bad that for a man to start a private salon, instead of thinking of buying a clipper, the first thing he wants to buy is a generator. I don't know so. So these are very basic things: insecurity, power, energy. When these things are taken care of, naturally they will impact on the economic activities, and there might be a leap. So issues like unemployment may begin to be addressed, on that ground in a way, because if people can set up businesses and they are sure of power and they are sure of energy to run their outreach, they will employ people. No organization can run on its own. They will naturally hire people, and then those people they hire, when they get paid, they also will spread prosperity, because they have to fund their families as well. So these are the areas we should be looking into.
All right.
But the most important, as I told you, is security. Because when farmers cannot go to the farm, when students cannot go to the school, when people cannot go from one town to another in pursuit of their life goals, it's not it at all.
All right.
Without security, there can't be growth, there can't be development. Of course, the economy will remain comatose.
All right. Ariyo, I hope you also agree that on making this decision relating to security, they are human beings. Security does not just I mean, security does not just appear. Human beings have to take the decision to make sure that the society or the country is more secure. But that's why determination of who becomes the leader of the National Assembly, that is why it becomes more important. That's why we are discussing this. Just yesterday, Yusuf Gaji of, the APC, one of the aspirants as well, had also come out to speak on this issue. You were talking about compensation, rewarding states, regions that are, supported.
They call it job for the boys.
Okay.
If you want me to tell you.
If you might use that language. But the question is, if it is really job for the boys, as you have put it, don't you think that states as the North Central, which the aspirant comes from, because he is saying that we have given APC at least 4 states out of our region. He got a lot of votes from our region, and the state had not even had, the state had not really enjoyed, or the state is being sidelined, from the leadership position of the National Assembly. That they don't want a position where tomorrow the president can just say, I'm taking you out and I'm bringing another person. Do you think that, do you agree with his position? Because finally you have said that you are rewarding them. Should this also do they not deserve that reward? And for the sake of equity, justice, and fairness, there are other regions. There's the Southeast as well. Why should they also get something?
Okay, Nigeria as a country has some peculiarities. We are multi-ethnic, multi-tribal, multi-religious, multi-linguistic, and all of that. Now, in playing the political card, the politicians, they know how to go around placating some people while giving others opportunities to move forward. And I don't want to say it, but there's a language they call turn by turn. President Buhari is from the north, he is from the Fulani zone. Now, the president-elect is Yoruba of the Southwest zone. What that means is now the turn of the Southwest to be president. Now, in looking at all of these things, complete justice may not be, there, if I must agree with you. At the same time, I said it earlier that this mechanism of giving people appointments based on geographical location discounts marriage. It does not consider marriage. And if you ask me on so many grounds, I'm going to tell you that I am against Akpabio becoming Senate President. And I'll tell you right away, this was the man as governor who purportedly built a multi-billion hospital in a state. And when he came to Abuja as either senator or minister, I can't remember which one now, he had an accident in the city. Rather than being taken to the studio that he built, which was open with so much fanfare, he was flown abroad. What does that tell you? That what it be for them is a carcass, not what they deserve. It was the same person who, as minister, went to give evidence at a sitting at the National Assembly. And when he was coming on strong, the chairman of the committee told him to off the mic, that it's okay, that he should keep quiet. And of course, he kept quiet. We don't need planned people. I mean, I don't see that record that it will impress me and make me feel comfortable that, we are having an independent-minded Senate president. And that, for me, is a big deal. Because when there's everything, there's supposed to be the checks to the national executive. So when you now have a man with such a record within the Senate, what are you going to expect? If not complacency. And that, for me, is a challenge. And I agree with you on that score. But then, the party has said that is what or who they want. You and I, the best we can do is what we are doing now. We are discussing and we are talking. Maybe somebody that matter will get to listen to us and go back to the party, tell them, look, these are developments that are picked from the media or from the street. Can we change our position? But I doubt that.
All right. All right. Just to mention quickly, as regards the maybe shifting post, if you like, changing position.
I didn't get you, please. Can you repeat yourself? your voice is not very clear.
Oh, okay. I was just talking about maybe changing positions. 5 of the aspirants, including Yusuf Gaji, who want to contest for the speakership position at the House of Reps, were at a meeting yesterday at the headquarters of the All Progressives Congress to, make their demands known, as they say that, that zoning to the northwest was ill-conceived, especially because it was done without consultation, and that's one of the content of the letter of Akeredolu as well, that the Progressives Governors Forum was not consulted when this was done. But let's leave this story real quick because we're pressed for time, and then talk about the departure of the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the May 29 handover ceremony. He's now departed Nigeria for Europe, where he said to, while there, he said that a statement released yesterday said that he will fine-tune the transition plans, programs, and policy options with some of his key, aides as well there, without distractions, in Nigeria. Let me remind you, and indeed remind our listener that first, Mr. President is not in the country at the moment. He was there for the inauguration, or rather, crowning of King Charles III, and he stayed back. According to report, he's there to visit his dentist, and and will be there for 1 week. But the president-elect as well has left Nigeria and would be there, God knows for how long. What's your thought on this? Because Nigerians are saying we don't have the president in the country, we don't have the president-elect also in the country. What's happening?
Wow, that's a very valid question. Let me tell you, Kingsley, you didn't just arrive in Nigeria yesterday. You should be very familiar with the antics of the president going abroad for medical treatment. He's gone for 130 days at his stretch before. So if we went to attend the King Charles enthronement and perhaps something went wrong, I think they mentioned something somewhere that I all said, look, they don't come again. And he felt he needed to take care of himself. Who am I and who are you to say he should not? Unfortunately, he promised us that he will be the one to lead the campaign against medical tourism. Unfortunately, he has become the poster boy for medical tourism against what he promised during his campaign in 2014 at the 3 years. Now, regarding the project delay, he has not been sworn in. He has no business with this government. He has no capacity officially to do anything, even if he's here. So that he chooses to go to Europe. I read in the letter of the release by Senator Tunde Rahman that he chooses to go to Europe for whatever. For now, shouldn't be my serious concern. Yes, it's our president-elect. It's public property, but it's not completely a property until he gets sworn in. Don't forget that there are so many court cases challenging his eligibility, challenging his victory as well. And nobody knows the way the pendulum will swing. We are only hopeful that heaven or hell, here or there, they will allow him to be sworn in, and the judgment now says he should go. Until then, for now, he remains our president-elect. So I don't want to be in that school of thought, that will now be conjuncturing the fact that, maybe he's sick again, he's got medical treatment. No, I don't live in the world of projections and postulations. I face reality.
All right.
He told us why he went abroad. Why don't we just take it and mind our own businesses? Until something else comes up.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
But we copy other other nations who want to, like the first world nations. Is this what really happens in the first world nations, where the president-elect or even the president?
I'm not getting you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Better now.
All right. I said that we copy, or we tend to copy what other countries are doing. In fact, we want to be like the US, want to be like the UK, want to be like this first world countries in quote. Is this what really happens for the countries that we intend to copy, considering the fact that we want to attain those positions where a president-elect jets out of the country? This is like the second time. And in fact, the president for 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, when he came into office, we didn't see the president, or for months. And even for him to constitute his cabinet, it took a lot of time. So, but we are trying to emulate the first world country. What do you think we should be expecting in an ideal society?
Well, I think there was a bill signed into law indicating the number of days
60 days
after inauguration
exactly
that is allowed to have appointed his ministers and aides, if my memory serves me right. But I don't think we will wait. And when I mean we, I mean Nigerians, the rich, the poor, the voters, non-voters, everybody. We're not going to wait again and allow any president-elect to ride us roughshod for 6 months, because that was what the PNB did. For 6 months, it was doing this abracadabra, making it look like it was going to be his leaders from heaven. At the end of the day, virtually all the people that we put forward as pundits ended up in his government, and they are still there till today. Unfortunately, those 6 months that should have hit the ground running were wasted. They were squandered because the country didn't achieve anything at all at that period. So I agree that we want to copy the developed world or first world. I don't know who called us third world. For all I care, humanity creation began in Africa. And I mean, I'm not from third world. I'm from the first world, whether you like it or not. So, knowing Tinubu's experience in Lagos, he was a team player and he brought in great people who today we sing their praises. I can assure you that as we are talking, this list should have been prepared and made ready. But unfortunately, we have to wait till May 29 before we can begin to see, this is when it's coming up or not. Maybe you want to take a sniper from the governor of Kaduna State, who said he wasn't going to accept being made the minister of Federal Capital Territory. I don't know, maybe he has seen the list, and then that's the office they gave him, as a key member of this campaign group, where he's now saying he's protesting. So it would be wrong to assume that Bola Tinubu will also waste time before appointing his ministers. No, let's give it to him that he will hit the ground running.
Yeah, he had promised, one of those engagements in the build-up to the elections that he was going to hit the ground running from day one.
Unfortunately, it's only God that promises and doesn't fail. So it's not God.
I see what you did there. All right. Thank you so much, Oladeinde Ariyo, for joining the conversation. Ariyo is a security consultant and public affairs analyst as well. He's been talking to us about the leadership positions at the National Assembly, 10th National Assembly.
Before you go, you have not watched your arrival in the Law FMO.
All right.
If you don't settle me, we try to get over that place. Have a nice day. God bless you. By God, you preach and everybody in the house.
Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. We appreciate it. Alrighty. Let's leave that real quick. Well, you can, of course, join the conversation. We're still very much here for a few, and you can be a part of the conversation as we close gradually. 0703 2277338 and 0909 5551039 is the number to call, or other numbers to call. Alrighty, as we go though, we have this trending clip right now on social media, and that's a picture or a video of a Nigerian man who has shared his strange experience during a visit to the immigration office in Alausa in Ikeja. The man, identified as GK on Twitter, explained how an immigration officer commanded him and fellow passport applicants into a lengthy prayer session. He said he arrived at the immigration office at 7:30 yesterday morning and noted that everything was chaotic and confusing when he got there. And he said while they were waiting, two officers got into the room where they were waiting and commanded everyone to stand up, and they started a praise worship session followed by a long prayer session. He didn't stop there. He then further said that they recited Hail Mary, the Hail Mary, Mother of God, and then they called an Afa to come and pray again. I'm like, for what? Like, I'm just here to
the
do
country
this.
needs prayer, so it just shows that I mean, those that are maybe they are praying for those that are trying to jackpot to stop jackpotting. I mean, it's the immigration office after all, so
or praying for their safe trip.
You know, something of the sort. I mean, the country really needs prayer heavily this time. Yeah, so I mean, it is something to make for comic relief, but yeah, I mean, if they're taking this seriously and going to be doing this every day, then I think it's a misplaced priority, to be honest, because that is not the place or the time
prayer
to
is
be
the
doing
key.
that. I mean, there are times and places to do these sort of things.
So there are times and places, and where if they do it before opening session, I do not think there's anything wrong. But you cannot do it during your working hour when you're expected to be at work and then
imposing it on everybody else to participate.
Exactly, because religious there's freedom of religion, freedom to or belief, but you cannot impose
it. Right.
You can advise people, you can reach out to people, you cannot impose it. Telling me to stand up, that I must join you in prayer, either whichever way.
But the moment we start praying, we're in the presence of God, you need to stand, right?
But there's some people that are agnostic. They don't believe in any God at all.
So how do
what happens
do
then?
you take care of the views of others who are not maybe of your own religion, of your own faith? So it's not compulsion. It could be, please can you stand up? We want to pray. Some people don't pray sitting. Some people don't stand while they pray.
But if you're in our space, you need to join the prayers, right? You came here for something, we know, but join the prayers at least. Say the Hail Mary. And if you're not that, we get an afford to pray too, and you should join the conversation.
Like I said, if it's within the time before they start, I don't see anything wrong in that. But if it's during working hours, then it's absolutely everything wrong with that.
You need to see that clip. The applicants were looking humble as they stood there joining the prayers. But hey, we just thought to bring that to your notice, and of course join the conversation. Join that as part of the conversation for this morning. But that's the package this morning. Thanks indeed for being there. To those who called, and those who were trying to reach the studio as well. We appreciate it. We'll do this again one last time this week. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock is the time. Don't be late. All right. The Law FM morning show returns at 9 o'clock tomorrow. But keep the conversation going across social media platforms at Law FM _radio on Twitter, at Law FM Radio on Instagram as well.
Yes, you have to keep it out, tuning and locked on. This is your station for knowledge and entertainment. We still have amazing programming lined up for your knowledge and entertainment, but we have to go. My name is Beatrice Inem.
And I'm Felix Zoma.
Kingsley Bass is my name. Bye for now.
Right here.